the 4 surprising foods that kill belly fat, and the 2 so-called healthy foods to avoid. In this video, I wanted to tell you some shocking facts about some of the foods that you are already eating. Some of these foods are marketed to you as health foods, but are actually silently making you gain extra stomach fat. I'm also going to surprise you by showing you a couple of foods that you probably thought were unhealthy, but can actually help you to burn off stubborn abdominal fat faster. I want to show you some valuable ways to lose stubborn body fat and stop being fooled by the deceptive marketing of the giant food conglomerates who want you to buy more of their cheap processed foods that are making you fatter, while they claim these foods are healthy for you. So let's get right into a few examples of foods that are silently making you fat, and also some surprising foods that can help you burn fat. The first one I'd like to warn you about is whole grains. This includes whole grain bread, bagels, muffins, pasta, and more. You probably already know that refined grains like white bread are bad for you, but I bet you think that whole grains are good for you and can help you to lose fat. Well, this could be a big mistake holding you back from a lean body and flat stomach. Trust me, I'm not going to preach to you about a low-carb, no-carb diet here. Moderate carbs can be healthy if you choose the right options, but that doesn't necessarily mean whole grains are the way to achieve that. Remember that grains are extremely cheap to grow and process compared to other crops, and this means big money for giant food conglomerates. Of course, this means that they have to deceive you with clever marketing to make their product seem healthy for you and make you want to buy a lot of it, thinking you are doing your body good. The first problem with whole grains is that many whole grain breads and cereals still raise your blood sugar fairly substantially and quickly, which stimulates an insulin spike and triggers you to have more cravings for carbohydrate-rich foods later. In the big picture, you inadvertently eat more calories. Another problem with whole grain products is that they are still fairly calorie-dense with a lower amount of nutrient density compared to some other options I can show you. In addition, a large percentage of the population have some degree of intolerance to gluten, which is found in high amounts in wheat and some other grains. In fact, some nutrition scientists estimate that as much as 70 to 75% of the population has at least some small degree of intolerance to the gluten in many grains. Also, keep in mind that the human digestive system adapted over the period of 200,000 years on a diet that did not contain very much grain at all. There may have been very low amounts of grain in the ancient human diet, but nowhere even close to the quantity in today's modern diet. It wasn't until agriculture became more prominent only a couple thousand years ago that grains became a major part of the human diet. This means that our digestive systems are still not adapted to properly digesting the large quantities of grain in the modern diet. The result? You get fatter as well as other health problems. Now, I realize that you may not be willing to completely eliminate grains from your diet, but don't worry. I'll show you how to best balance this aspect of your diet to get you the best fat loss results while still enjoying your favorites. The second so-called health food that you have been deceived about is soy. Some of the biggest offenders in the soy industry are soy milk, tofu, and soy protein products. Remember that soy is a big multi-billion-dollar industry, and their goal is to use clever marketing to fool you into thinking that these highly processed soy products are actually healthy for you. So you buy more of them thinking you're doing the body good. Don't be fooled by their deceptive marketing. The first thing I should mention about soy is a little controversial, and that is the high concentrations of phytoestrogens that are found in processed unfermented soy products. Now, I know you may have heard contradicting stories about whether these phytoestrogens are actually harmful or not, but one thing that's often overlooked is that in most cases, we're not talking about eating just a few soybeans here. We're talking about products such as soy milk and soy proteins, where the processing has actually concentrated the phytoestrogens in much higher concentrations than you would ever get naturally. This is where these processed soy products can actually stimulate your body to hold on to belly fat. Want more belly fat? Just go ahead and drink more soy milk or eat more tofu. But even if you don't buy that argument, consider this. One of the other main problems with soy is that it is one of the most genetically modified crops and also one of the crops containing the highest pesticide-herbicide residue. Many pesticides and herbicides that get inside your body actually act as something called xenoestrogens, which contribute to the condition known as stubborn belly fat. They make your body want to hold on to belly fat and make it particularly hard to burn off. So even if you don't agree with the phytoestrogen argument against soy, you need to factor in the xenoestrogens from pesticides and herbicides that you might be exposed to as well, which can increase stomach fat. This is in addition to the effects you may get from the concentrated phytoestrogens in soy. It's the combination, double whammy, of xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens in soy that could be a big problem for stubborn belly fat. Okay, now that we've talked about some of the bad news about foods that you thought were healthy, but are actually making you gain fat, let's turn to the good news. That's right, I'm going to talk about some foods that you probably have been fooled into thinking are unhealthy. But you may be surprised to learn that some of these delicious foods can actually help you to get leaner and lose abdominal fat. Let's dig in.